This car here is so French, it even has a baguette as a shifting lever. Two major things that Renault want to achieve with the new Renault 5. First of all, an affordable electric vehicle starts 25,000 euros in the base version, small battery. And the second thing is, not concerned about being electric or something, it's just supposed to be fun and iconic. The R5, the vintage vehicle, was an iconic vehicle, and here the new R5 is supposed to be iconic again. But does it work? How much fun is it? Is it a good small electric vehicle, and can it solve some of the problems in the EV world? We're going to find out here with Thomas and Autogefuehl in 4K, full screen, full length. Let's go. Here in the green color, you have 5 colors at this moment. There's also this yellow one available we had in the studio, but also white, black or a dark blue. And this one here is the so-called techno trim. It's one of 2 high trims. And we have the daytime running light in the lower part. That looks actually pretty cool. Also when you hit the turning indicators. And also another fun feature is here on top of the front hood. We see here already this 5, and this is actually a battery status indicator when you're charging or when you open and close the vehicle. Here you also have this effect. So a really nice light show, for example. So why not making the features fun again? Making this whole car fun, this is also one of the goals. At the side we have a size of 3 meters 92 or 154 inches, so indeed a small vehicle. Always 18-inch wheels. You get with a 18-inch steel design, and I'd say like ready style, but this one here is the aluminum wheel, 18-inch in this higher trim. Charging port here is on the front, the driver's side actually, 11 kilowatt AC, 100 kilowatt DC peak here, and they say 15 to 80% state of charge in about 30 minutes. The smaller battery will only have AC charging, and there are actually 2 different battery sizes. This one here, the bigger one today, 52 kilowatt hours net. The smaller one later available with 40 kilowatt hours net, and we'll find out after driving and so on what consumption we can score, and then tell you more about the concise wheelward range. It has a heat pump here standard in that high trim at least, so that might also then reduce the bad effects on the range in winter time. And it can even have vehicle to load, so you can also swap it around, connect it like with your household and so on, so also future proof, so to speak. In the rear, a very iconic design, you know, where the lower part is a little bit wider than the upper part, really beautiful, also in this, let's say, technology style tail lamps. And once again, also when you hit the turning indicators, you also have a nice effect. So I think exterior design wise, everyone who sees the cars, you know, gives you thumbs up. So people love the car from design. We've been also driving around the Nice area here today, and we got so many thumbs up, and people asking on the supermarket lot where we you know, bought some baguette and so on. So people are really positive about this car, at least from the exterior looks. Driving wise, by the way, it's front wheel drive always. This one here, the 150 horsepower version. There are also lower horsepower versions available than for the smaller battery, 2 different ones. This one here, quickest in acceleration at 8 seconds. If you want it quicker, there would be an Alpine version here also of the Renault 5. But as it stands here right now, it is actually the quickest one available directly from the Renault branding. Now to the interior, you still get the typical Renault keycard. I think they could have brought something new. What do you think? Then door closing sounds. In Germany we would say it sounds blechern, like from blech, like a sheet of metal, you know. Let's take it that way with my facial expression. Nice. Ooh, Sauron has arrived. Here you see that the rear door handle here is also integrated in the door. That's actually quite nice. Then inside of the doors, this is the techno trim. So let's see what electronic music we have here for you. This is hardpack. But then in the techno trim we have this denim trim, like a blue styling. It's actually quite cool. Maybe not necessary to the green exterior color, but if you have the dark blue outside or the white outside, that would be cool. Steering wheel, we know from other bigger Renaults. Here these are some, let's say, mix of capacitive. You see, you have a feedback here, but then which button you press is capacitive basically, but here then real buttons also in the mix. Then we have here once again the denim style for the seats, together with some brown So that's looking quite cool actually, and the seats are also relatively wide and large for a small vehicle. Also, if you go for the iconic 5 trim, then you would have this yellow interior trim, and later on there will be entry version which has a more subtle color note. Then here, yeah, I actually sit quite well in these seats. They are relatively soft from the feedback they give you, but they kind of hold you very tight, so that might be good for sporty cornering and so on. And then 189, 6'2". So that leaves a lot of headroom left. It's really nice done here also with the seating. Steering wheel in and out, up and down. So that's also a very easy and good process. The only thing here, if you're a little bit taller, the space for your knees and so on. So to the right side, and also when I close the door, like my leg is directly here. So yeah, somewhat limited, but in the front, it's actually okay from the space. What I feel from the seat is, in the lowest position, it falls backward a lot. So actually, even if I'm tall, I would maybe pump it up, y'all, a little bit, that I go a little bit more upright. But does it go more? Yeah, I think a little bit, right? That can make sense, yeah. And this here, by the way, the electric lumbar support, I can also put in here from... Do you hear that? Yeah, but I think it doesn't make, like the front cockpit doesn't make impression of, hey, it's a small EV. It makes a bigger impression from the visual part, at least. More in depth of the most important feature of this vehicle, the baguette holder, or I mean, it can also serve as a flower holder. That would also be good because, you know, when you buy some flowers, yeah, then I always the problem, like, how do I carry them without, you know, like being broken or something like that. And this one here,
and your wife is never hungry again.
Yeah, and of course, depending on, I mean, when you can carry flowers and food, then it's happy wife, happy life. Here you can use then exactly this here as the hanger. I heard it's supposed to be not that cheap from work, so I expect that it might have maybe some third-party suppliers for that, or maybe someone who's putting that one into a 3D printer. That might happen. Then you can, yeah. Oh, now the baguette is broken. we did so many shootings with that, and also some reels, and I, you know, did like this, you know, like I'm shifting the vehicle with the baguette shifter. It's not what you think. It's not what you think. Yeah. Yeah. Then maybe. Yeah. So it's not something for broken baguettes. Let's take it that way, or maybe. So there we go. See you later, baguette. So rest of the cockpit, beautiful here. Once again with this jeans denim material, that's actually pretty cool. Also softly. So I really like this trim. Again, just put a different exterior color in the mix. Then the glove box here is also dampened. It's small but useful. Why not? Then here also a lot of hard plastic for the dash and so on. Here on the lower part, here there's some interesting cubby hole, 2 USB-C chargers down there. Then you have here inductive charging pad, but it's not really cooled. You can put this away and clean it, for example. That would be possible. Then you have a cup holder, which is not adaptive though. And armrest, this is somewhat soft, just with more space underneath. And then here the power, like the on switch, is here actually, like between the 2 screens. So you always have this infotainment screen here, 10-inch. On the left side, either I would start with the low trims with 7-inch instruments. This one you already get the 10-inch instrument. What is quite remarkable here is that we have some buttons on top of the screen. So here for the music volume, there are small buttons on the screen, and you can also, you know, just shut off the screen right there with this huge button
like
in there.
Old iPhone.
Yeah, right, like an iPhone that is like turned sideways or something like that. And by the way, here to put in the gears, you have this shifting lever here. And by the way, I was wondering, like, what was it inspired from design-wise? And I have read from Renault that they say it shall remind you of a lipstick you opened. You know, when you put off the cap of a lipstick, and then you see this kind of. Do you see it? I'm not sure.
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe,
Yeah.
maybe. Okay, let's take it that way. Then typical, if you're a Renault owner or driver here, for the volume, you have like a lot of stalks, like 1, 2, 3, 4 stalks behind the steering wheel. Yet again, I do prefer having menu controls and stalks in comparison to, you know, like the Tesla interiors, which are also cool in their own way. But then if you have nothing like real physical to touch anymore, or almost nothing. Also here, the temperature unit with a nice clicking sound, so you can control that also easily while driving. Also the fan speed, for example, closing the vehicle. So that is more or less straightforward, I would say. And the driving mode selector is here, this multi-sense button also at the steering wheel. And there it is, so easy to press. Also here to change something in the instruments. There we go. So yeah, they are quite well to read, and later on more about the consumption. And then you have here this app view, also for the CarPlay connection, and a home view where you can also see the inbuilt Google Maps. And this is also relevant because this inbuilt Google Maps you can also use for the charging calculation, for example. So let's say we want to drive from here to Paris, from Nice to Paris. We put that in Paris, and then we have a route calculation, and that should calculate.
Now.
There we go.
Yeah.
So these are
Oh,
holy
wow.
moly. So yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7
Maybe not.
charging stops. Maybe not. 13 hours. Oh my God.
6 charging stops.
Yeah, interesting. But I mean, it's also far away, you know. Have to admit that, but at least it does have this automatic calculation. It's, by the way, here 960 kilometers to Paris, so like 550 miles. So just that you can have an imagination of that. By the way, also here the steering wheel. It's actually very cool material actually, and also with the perforation here in the lower part. And no one would actually think that this is also not an animal material. So this is a high-grade leatherette, and Renault goes actually completely animal-free, not only for this interior, but for the whole model portfolio. So it's better for the animals and also better for the environment. Actually, if you want to know more about that, we have a lot of links concerning about that, because yes, it is definitely better for the environment as well. And Leah found another special feature for us here. Look at that. Here the interior lights are with touch. This only works when they're not on, by the way. As soon as you open the door, then they stay on, and then you cannot touch deactivate them. So yeah, that's the thing. And they're also to be found in the rear as well. The rear seats will be especially funny today, I can promise. First of all, here, hard pack everything at the inside of the doors. At least you have an own window lever. You also have the same nice blue denim style fabric here in the rear. That's cool. And a lot of child seat possibilities. Isofix on the outsides each. Top tether is also behind that too. Top tether for the passenger seat, and also Isofix for the front seat. So yeah, you can put everything full of child seats here. Wait a minute. This is even for 5, you see here, you can, I mean, they suggest it's like here, like a real seatbelt here also. So you could theoretically sit here with 5, but my problem is rather that I even can't sit here. I mean, yeah. This reminds me of a Porsche 911 rear seats. So you see, at least when I'm driving, this does not work at all. Of course, yeah, I'm 189, 602. The headroom is fine. And here from the rear, you can also see more of that beautiful roof pattern here from the inside. This is a very good idea. Again, like with simple measures, bringing some joy and unique features to the vehicle. But yeah, I mean, it's a super short vehicle. What can we expect? But definitely when I'm driving, no one will sit behind me except a child seat. This vehicle, by the way, also even has a towing capacity of 500 kilograms. Really unusual for an electric vehicle, and especially a small electric vehicle in that case, to offer towing capacity at all. Now to the trunk or the boot, 330 liters. And I left this setup here today to show you, yes, it can house 2 cabin trolleys plus 2 backpacks and plus the cable. Maybe not the most practical thing, but you see how much it actually fits. And this is here 1 meter or 40 inches, and you see it doesn't really fit straight into it. So this is less than 1 meter or 40 inches in width. The length is here at 65 centimeters, 25 inches. Now we put everything out, and here underneath there is actually a small storage for a cable underneath, but of course if you have luggage in there you cannot access the cable then. Yeah, you can also take this whole thing out. There you can also see then the car paint and so on. So yeah, there are maybe, let's say, more premium solutions to that, but they also want to, let's say, keep it simple in a way. This is the way. Now, here the height is actually quite substantial. So here at about 80 centimeters or 33 inches. Then you can pull these lashes here and then fold the seats from here. There we go. See, that is the seat as I would be driving, so it doesn't fold flat completely. Here the passenger seat I put forward before that. Yeah, so the total length into the front seats here is about 125 in meters or 49 inches. Does it have a frunk or not? No, it does not. I mean, the hood is kinda small, so maybe it's okay. They put all the electric stuff in here. Also the normal starter battery, for example. Yeah, maybe that's then okay. As for that, or what do you think about this? So one thing, you know, I see a little bit critical with this vehicle, or with the concept in general, when it's super small and the battery is also super small. The pro is it uses less resources. The con is the use case of this vehicle is also limited. So there might be the danger that this is bought only for the city and then another car is bought for something else. You know what I mean? So I think it's more like ecological and economical if you buy one vehicle for different use cases than two and then for separate use. You know what I mean? But yeah, I think it also really depends on the individual purchase, on the individual use case of the vehicle, whatever you want to go do with it. But free to open that discussion here as well. Okay, let's put this one here in gear. There we go. First gear, second gear, and start driving this one. Okay, the baguette shouldn't be flying around here. Yeah, let's see how it behaves here while driving. Welcome to Thomas's driving lounge here with the Renault 5 or the R5, and yeah, starting here in the city because soon getting to the acceleration, which usually comes first. But I want to get you some city impressions first because this car is meant to be driven in the city. And the cool thing is it feels really nice and agile. Here also direct steering input. It feels really cool. So there's no big dead zone area or something like that. And you get along quite well here in the city. So you have these really small dimensions. You don't feel stressed because anything is getting too narrow and so on. The turning indicator honestly is a little bit annoying from the sound. Here, stuff like that I crawl myself forward already like this. Yeah, this is only possible with such a small vehicle here. 3 meters 92 or what? 54 inches, I think it was, yeah. So that is actually the thing here, what this car is made of. Here, driving around the town of Nice in southern France, and of course, yeah, if you think about the Paris traffic, even worse probably. This is where it really feels nice to have a small vehicle. Although, of course, I mentioned in the interior part, it is limited for me to sit in here with my knee on the left side and also to the right side and so on. And
I have enough space.
okay,
Even with the baguette?
when Leah and the baguette have enough space, so yeah, that's actually the more important thing. It's not about the driver here. It's about the passenger princess and her baguette. So that's way more important, definitely, right? Here also really agile when we do some lane changes, nice, and you all can. Well, actually, this baguette here is not only our shifting lever for today, it's also the G-force meter. You know, you can directly see the G-forces not only with Leah's legs but also with the baguette.
I have the third leg.
Yeah, the baguette is the third leg. Yeah.
Oh, it's crushing.
Yeah. Yeah. Be careful. Maybe want to eat it later after the review, of course. Now we're getting to the motorway. We can also set it here to the sport mode. Yeah, there we go. And then we do an acceleration from 60 to 110. Woo. Plop, that's it. Yeah, I think reasonable enough. The 0 to 100 kilometers figure or 60 miles an hour figure is 8 seconds, a little bit under 8 seconds. here in the 150 horsepower version. So the top version that is available with the big battery, 52 kilowatt hours net. Yeah, I mean, it's not a sports car, but especially like when you are at lower speeds and so on, it accelerates quick enough. Just, you maybe saw that when you're getting to speed and then want to have something more, then it's somewhat limited. But then again, if you compare it to internal combustion engine small cars, that's what I wanted to say, the electric vehicles always have this instant torque, and therefore, even if they are, you know, not the most powerful one, they are still quick to drive always, and that's actually cool. See, all the windows are probably up, just checking, because here at 110 kilometers an hour, I feel there's some wind noise coming there from the side mirror. It's still okay, I would say. That's the only thing I hear. From the tire noise and so on, I think it's really fine. What do you say about the wind noise?
Yeah,
It's fine,
okay.
so yeah. So we cannot say that because it's also an acoustic front windscreen they use here. So it's not that only because this is here a small and rather inexpensive vehicle that the insulation would be bad. No, it's sometimes the case, but here I think at the speeds we can reach, at least in France here, I think it's actually good. And also how it behaves here on the motorway, that's actually pretty decent. These 18-inch wheels definitely help us there with getting control of it and that it feels sporty and direct on the road. Yet again, the 18-inch wheels also in some way limit the comfort because there's not so much dampening from the tire left though, you know. So that's always the case, that's always the trade-off. So when you have some, like here, like this, well, that was actually quite okay, but sometimes there are some sewage system covers on the road or something like that. Yeah, and you feel these bumps quite notably. They went for, I hate these fee stations definitely, but they gave us a chance to show you one more acceleration from 20. Let's go. Woo. That was 20 to 90. Actually, quite nice. So you also see that G-force meter here, and well, the Leah meter cannot be impressed that easily anymore. When she was driving, I don't know, some Porsche Taycan, couple of seconds acceleration stuff, and so she's like, oh, that's not, yeah. So we rely on the baguette G meter here for today. Yeah. But I mean, it's really a likable car. It gives, I mean, you feel here the atmosphere we're having here is. It is fun. The vehicle is really fun. That was also one of their first intents. Yeah, giving something small, electric, and also affordable. There's also this this governmental subsidy program in France, especially for cheaper electric vehicles, and also for people who do not have high income, which I think is a great idea, because before that, also when you think about the German subsidy systems, is more about those who can afford the cars anyway, you know, and so I think this is a very good thought here they have in France with the subsidy system. So yes, something affordable electric and also just something fun and iconic, and I think they really achieved that here. This is not just any other small electric vehicle. It really gives you something special. You've seen it from the exterior. With the interior, they also did some lovely stuff, which looks quite cool. Yeah, and then it also has, of course, its limitations. Comfort, especially for tall people. Yeah, I don't feel like I would be doing now like a 6-hour road trip in that one here. Cannot expect that from that. Also not from the range. We'll tell you more about the concise range figure at the end. Oh, there we can see something of the ambient lighting here on the, there's a small stripe. Here also when we switch through the driving modes, see here it also switches the color. That's also a feature they have had in their vehicles for quite some time now. For example, also switches the throttle input, how spontaneous it reacts actually in that respect. Yeah, but although we're driving here on the motorway, it feels really nice from the suspension also. It's, I would say it's rather trimmed on sporty, fun and stiff, so it's not really that soft. Of course, with the weight of the battery, they kind of also have to do that, and here, changing lanes, doesn't shake up much, so definitely a small, fun vehicle with its limitations then of being small and for the comfort and so on. But for that, I think yeah, they scored that one actually quite well. So actually also enjoying that on the motorway, driving it. What do you think?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Yeah?
I agree, yeah.
Yeah, she agrees. Okay, that's good. It's always great when your wife agrees to something, definitely. Yay! So would you pick the green or the yellow one? But there's also like other colors though. I mean, there was black, white, and I think a dark blue is also available. Yeah. I think that the blue here on the inside looks pretty cool.
Yeah.
But
the
not.
outside is blue,
But yeah, but
not in green,
yeah,
yeah.
I think dark blue on the outside, and then or black maybe, and then the or white outside and blue inside. That's maybe also cool. But I mean, you have the choice. Here also in the tunnel, by the way, I really feel that noise insulation wise, it's
good.
Actually, when we remember driving other small Renault vehicles like the Renault Symbios, that was worse. So I think inside the Renault portfolio, this is one of the more silent vehicles, not only because it's electric. And recuperation is also important. So here, normal driving mode, but I can also put down this one, the shifting lever, and then here there's notable deceleration. So this is in the B mode. By that, you just lift your foot off the throttle and there's more recuperation. Other than that, when I'm in the D mode, which the vehicle is usually in, then I just hit the brake pedal and do the recuperation with that. What they did here is they did a brake blending in a way that you yourself always have the same pedal feeling on the brakes. Oh, by the way, now the ambient lighting also changed due to the driving mode. So it's always the same pedal feeling for you. It's just on the brake pedal. It's just that the car decides on itself first recuperation and then the rear brakes. I mean, in most cases there will only be the recuperation, and only when I brake really hardly, then also the real brakes will be applied as for that. But here, also nice and sporty. It's really fun to drive. Also, the steering is quite direct here. I really liked it, and actually, I feel the driving modes don't change too much. It's maybe nothing you should be too concerned about while driving. That's actually fine. You can also test the assistant systems. Let's check it out right here. Check it out, y'all. From show, brother. So, well, yeah, that's, I don't know, active assist. Yeah, that's what I want to. Yeah, I need to search like the proper mode, because here I want to show you the full assistant mode. So this is then also with keeping us in the lane. Let's see now when the motorway here has a slight bend. How good is that? Oh, that he didn't want to do actually. So, okay. Wasn't too fond of that, of me leaving the hands a little bit looser. So let's see, let's go to the right side. This is better. There we go. So the others can pass if they want to drive faster. So now setting to 90, and then there we go. So that's not done by me now, keeping me in a lane. Yeah, it's definitely also more sophisticated than in past Renault vehicles. So you feel that also the assistance system software has been upgraded here. There's also a blind spot monitor, which shows here a dot in the side mirror. You can also see it maybe here in the tunnel. And once again, car's keeping me in the lane. Not too nervous. Here now the distance to the car in front of me is also being kept. I can also increase or decrease the distance here with the left thumb. So far, actually, this is also on a level of maybe one of the bigger cars, one of the bigger in that segment. So that's actually fine. Yeah, car is ticking a lot of boxes. And I mean, yes, with a big battery here, we have more range than with a small battery. But if you really want to keep it as cheap as possible, then you would actually stick with a small battery. It will be later available after we have been shooting this vehicle, like maybe a couple of months later. And then you can get a relatively affordable car with decent driving behavior and also a big fun factor. And at the end of the review, we'll tell you more about our concise consumption. We'll drive even more and more to get a more realistic value about that. But the final thing I want to do with the driving impressions is here, what if we really hunt this one here up a hill and drive more agile? All right, now some corners. So we want to see how agile it now drives here, and some hairpin corners and so on. Yeah, there was this R5 rally version back in the days from the vintage vehicle. Now there's also the Alpine version of this one here with more horsepower, with more horsepower output. Now here also let us torque steer out of this one here. I love that when you don't steer yourself, but torque steer your way out of the corner. That's beautiful. Also here the leather red steering wheel, high quality, really feels really nice. Actually even better quality than we've felt with, you know, older Renault vehicles. So that's really well done. And there's not a big understeering effect, although we have front wheel drive or something. Yes, rear wheel drive electric vehicles can be even more fun and can get more performance to the ground. But I mean, this one has the big battery and will also put enough weight on the vehicle itself, you know, in a center position that the front wheels won't lift that much even if you accelerate hard. So that's actually fine, you know, in that respect. Really fun to drive also here up the hill and also in these hairpin corners. You get any stick or also fun as passenger?
Fun,
Yes,
yeah,
fun.
yeah.
That's also always the Leah fun stamp, so to speak, because sometimes passengers get sick when driving a little bit more sporty and agile and so on. But here it's obviously fine. We have a low center of gravity with this electric vehicle here. Battery placed in the center of the vehicle. That also helps. So yes, the weight is higher
The
than.
seat is good here.
Yeah, and good point, dear. The seat actually has a good side support, so it keeps us in the seat without narrowing us in too much or something. But seats here definitely also play into this whole round sporty characteristic of that vehicle. If you compare, for example, a VW ID3 or something, these seats here I would say are a little bit softer. So this is more, I think, like the French philosophy of building seats. Just a question like, you know, what you prefer best actually. So yeah, maybe I wouldn't do like a 6-hour road trip with this one here. But definitely if you also drive out of the city and have some fun there, no problem with that. And consumption efficiency, real world range for today, 14 kilowatt hours on 100 kilometers. That's 4.4 miles per kilowatt hour. So this here results not too high speed, like maximum 100 kilometers an hour. We did some motorway, we did some hill up, hill down, city driving, like a mix which is realistic for this vehicle. That would mean here realistic range, 370 kilometers or about 230 miles. And here for this 52 kilowatt hour battery, and less of course than with the smaller battery, but I think for the use case of this vehicle, this is actually quite okay. Prices, 25,000 euros is the entry price, or we mentioned it in the beginning. For the small battery, lower horsepower figure, then even the top speed will be even a little bit lower. And then for this one here, big battery, higher horsepower figure, 33,000 euros. And then if you even go to the Iconic 5 trim level and maybe add some more extras, the highest spec could be some 37,000 euros maximum approximately. Overall, the price offering is quite decent, especially in the entry-level version. Then of course with the smaller battery it's like really city vehicle only, also with the AC charging only and so on. But this will also be the primary use of this vehicle. And I think what they have achieved is they have built a fun vehicle. You can get it at affordable prices. And it is indeed also iconic, and we've saw it with the reaction from the people here down there in the city of Nice, that it gets a lot of thumbs up, at least already from the French audience, and we'll see how the other audiences will react. Like you, tell me your opinion about the Renault 5 in the comments. Would you actually consider going for one, or for a small electric vehicle in general? Or would you rather still prefer small ICE vehicles? That's what I wanted to say. And we can also tune into some other competitors of this one here.